I am super excited to say that the only reason I am able to even come out with this episode is the sponsor of today's episode. So, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it is one of the greatest things to use to make a podcast. First, it's free. Second, they have all these tools that you can use to record, edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. I do it from my phone because it's much easier. I literally just bought one of those mics from the Apple store, plug it in, and now I just talk and it's great. Also, you can distribute the podcast wherever you want. Anchor does that for you. It can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I think Stitcher, so many other places. And you can make money from the podcast. And yeah, you can start it right away with an advertisement like this. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It is everything you need to make podcasts in one place. Hey, before you get lost in the episode, I would love for you to consider buying me a coffee. Buy Me a Coffee is a site like Patreon in which you can support a creator for the things that they do. Except with Buy Me a Coffee, you can actually just support somebody once by buying them one $5 coffee. Or if you are really wanting to support on a continuous basis, you can support with my monthly membership that I have as well. The monthly membership has offers and access to exclusive things as well, such as the video podcast that I uploaded, where you were able to see some snippets on my Instagram. If you're not following me, it's the Forensics Guy on pretty much every social media platform. So I look forward to your follow. But additionally, if you would love to support, that would be awesome. And if not, just sharing the word is great too. I would love for you to help me spread the word of everything that I want to do in the speech and debate community. So, yeah, buymeacoffee.com. It'll be linked in the show notes. Bye. What's up, everybody? It's Dante, aka the Forensics Guy, and you are listening to the Forensics Experience, the podcast where we discuss topics in the speech and debate community with the world's most influential coaches, students, and alumni in the activity. And you all have no idea. I mean, no idea how excited I am. I always talk about how excited I am with all of my guests because they're all pretty amazing. I mean, they're speech and debate friends, so they're automatically top tier. But today, I am extremely excited because I'm bringing my best friend on today, Greg Snyder, one of the goats. All right, I could definitely go on with the whole list of everything that he does and how amazing he is, but I'm going to give him an opportunity to introduce himself. So, Greg, please tell our listeners who you are and what do you do and have you done for the speech and debate community.
Let's see, who am I? Well, I call myself, first of all, Dante, thanks for having me on. I call myself a self-proclaimed peopleologist. Basically, what that means is I love people. Chances are, if you're in 10 or 15 feet of me at any specific time, I will ask you out for coffee. That's just the kind of, guy that I am. Dante can testify to this. Like, I love hanging out at coffee shops and I love just getting to know people. So that's that's a big part of who I am. I'm just a people person. I love people. I love listening to people. I love talking with people. So be aware, if you're in a coffee shop, I might be listening to your conversation just because I love listening to people's conversations. So I probably shouldn't have said that at the beginning of the show. Now people are going to be creeped out, right? Uh, but I just love people and I love um yeah, I just think so as it relates to the speech and debate community, I've always loved speaking for as long as I can remember. Like people ask me like today because I just recently started a new position, which we might get to talking about, in a little bit here. But people asked me today. I was at a coffee shop, surprise, surprise, and people were like, or someone was like, "Do you ever get sick of talking?"
Yeah.
And I had to think about it. I'm like, There are very few times that I actually get sick of talking. Now, I know when I need my time, right? And I know when I need my space, like, and self-care, like self-care is so important, like, and I preach that, but um I just love to talk, and I love to talk with people, and I love when people talk. And so radio has been one of those things that I've wanted to do. Um, and I know we'll talk about this later, more specifically, but radio has been one of those things that I've wanted to do since I was like 7 or 8. When I was 7 or 8, I was making tapes of myself uh, on WKTI, this legendary radio station that is in Milwaukee. And sadly, the call letters are no longer unless someone decides to pick them back up. But yeah, this legendary Milwaukee radio station, or any other station. I used to brag that I knew the DJs. Like, you gave me a shift of any Milwaukee radio station, and I would know what DJ does that shift. I could probably still tell you, who does the shift on
Wow.
any Milwaukee radio frequency. So, um, yeah, Dante, maybe that's something you'll have to quiz me about later. But yeah, I know. I love radio. I always have, and um, it's always been a hobby of mine. I don't really collect radios or anything, or I don't, but I do listen to a lot of, like, not old time radio, but I do listen to a lot of like 70s, 80s radio DJs, and with the big radio voices and things like that. So anyway, but that's kind of about me. And I was in forensics in middle or in high school, I guess, and I did radio broadcasting. And no, actually, in forensics, I didn't do radio broadcasting. I did storytelling and I did 4-minute speaking. So that's how I
Wow.
kind of got involved in forensics and the speech and debate community, is through those things. And then I've been uh, speech and debate coach with Dante, and also, on some other levels too. So, yeah, so
That is
that's kind of my backstory, so to speak.
That is awesome and amazing introduction. Learning about everything that you love in radio. I think it's so cool. I don't know. I mean, I think I knew, obviously, but just knowing your first categories. First of all, I think the most interesting thing is for anybody who's listening is 4 minute. You're like some. I know pretty much. I think a lot of my listeners are probably in the main two states that I've probably like lived in, so like Wisconsin and California. So both of those groups are probably like, wait, what? Like 4 minute? Basically, yeah, 4 minute was our version of informative, except it was only for 4 minutes. So you have to do a 4 minute informative speech, which is so weird and interesting.
Yeah,
They increased it to 6 minutes, right? And I think
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
I think now it might be an actual full like just informative now. I can't remember, but
yeah.
because I don't live in Wisconsin anymore, but it's just crazy to see like how certain categories like change throughout time. And there's a lot of things, especially with Wisconsin being that kind of birthplace, like so many things change in the scope of forensics when it comes to Wisconsin as a whole. So I love to see all of those new and different things. Um
That's one thing our state has going for it, right? We're
yeah.
not only the birthplace of Ripon Good Cookies, which was used to be a cookie brand, that was popular. We are, in fact, the birthplace of forensics, or speech and debate. So, yeah.
Shout out to Bruno E. Jacob. I think yeah, Bruno E. Jacob. Cool. Well, uh, as you know, I think, and as a lot of people know, one of my big things that I have been just really pushing is to just do a lot of things when it comes to I feel like I don't know if I'm going to call them my 4 pillars. I sound like some private school advertising themselves,
That
but
Dante and I may have went to back in the day. Yeah. Shout out to Carroll University. Sorry.
yes.
Sorry. Got
Wait,
to get those
I
shout outs in.
I forgot Carol does pillars too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Carroll
even
does pillars.
I think
Yes.
even
Yes.
Concordia does pillars. I think even the school that I work at right now does pillars. Like I feel like that is just
Why is it pillars? Why
I don't
isn't it like rocks or like
well
I
I
don't know,
I'm
boulders or
somebody's probably listening, like trying to scream out the answer. Definitely pillars because, like, a pillar is supposed to like hold up the building, basically. So, like, it's a foundation. So people say like these are our pillars. So like they're the things that are like we can't basically live without or be functional without. So that's kind of cool, but it is still really interesting that like everybody goes the route of using pillars.
when I own a school someday off in the future, it's going to be not the pillars but the pillows.
Oh, I
You
like that.
know,
The 4 pillows.
pillows. Yeah, the four
Yes.
pillows. Yes. Yes.
I when I have my kid, I'm sending them right to your school. That's gonna be great.
Okay. Okay. It'll be awesome. Yes.
So for me though, I guess my pillars or my pillows. I think I'm gonna use pillows. Sorry, I'm gonna have to steal it from you just for this second. Okay, okay, don't beat me up just for this second. All right. So my four pillows honestly is I want to make speech and debate the most accessible, inclusive, diverse, and equitable community like to ever exist. And
Hmm.
I I figured out that because I feel like as a competitor, like I've seen so many things as a coach, I've seen so many things, and I have such a love for speech and debate. Like I want to do this for the rest of my life, and I want other kids to want to do this for the rest of their lives. Like I hope that every kid who participates eventually wants to become a coach, a judge, a something that is impactful within the community. And even if they're not that, I just love that kids are like, like I'm gonna be a lawyer and I'm gonna do better things. I'm gonna be a whatever it is, and like make true contributions to society. I just love it because that's what speech and debate has trained us all to do. And when I look at those 4 pillows, I am like so like gung ho about like how can I actually make this happen. I feel that one thing about me and one thing that I've been big on is like everybody, like I'm talking everybody, man. They always talking about we need to make this more accessible, we need to make this more equitable, and blah blah blah, and nobody's actually about action. And I and
Amen. You
and
can preach
it,
that till
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 100% facts. And I think it sucks because everybody can talk the talk, but nobody can actually do things. And I wanna use this moment really to give a super super big shout out to my favorite organization of all time, the NSDA, the National Speech and Debate Association. And I'm sure there are totally people who might be listening and be like, they're not perfect. And no, they are not perfect. However, I have actively seen them in the most recent years actively putting out trainings for things involving inclusivity, diversity, and everything. They're actively trying to figure out ways to make like speech and debate feel better for all, and I love that. And that is one thing that I am on a mission to do too. They've inspired me, to be honest, to be that same person. Like I don't want to just talk about it, I want to be about it. And this is why I am so appreciative of people who are like supporting me, who are truly saying like, yo Dante, like what are you doing, how can we help, how can we make this happen. So um I love that we get to do this episode because the one big thing that people know is I am trying to figure out like what projects can I do to make this happen. So my first project, which is literally right now, I am trying to add. I guess my ultimate goal is I want radio hosting as a category at nationals for speech and debate. Like this needs
Hmm.
to be a national category. Everybody should have the opportunity to do it because it is literally the most inclusive and like just the most inclusive activity there is. And the fact that I feel like, I think it's the only category that I can say exists where there's no like judgment on like things like physical things, like the way a person moves and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that those things are bad because those things are great when you have categories like dramatic interpretation and humorous interpretation and all these
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
But
Right.
having it in radio hosting offers the opportunity for everybody to do speech and debate. So some student who might not be as mobile and wants to, like, sure, it's, I think it's amazing that that student can still do HI if they wanted to, even if they do feel limited by like movement or something. But having a category like radio where they don't have to even feel like they need some type of like accommodation is amazing, and I love that. Radio is the only category that can offer that. So and I brought you on because we are both very knowledgeable in the category of radio because it exists in Wisconsin. I think it might be in like two other states. And there's a couple people who are trying to do, I've seen try to do some things maybe, but it's just not where it needs to be. And I think the only way we can make that happen is by getting the NSDA to adopt it. So I think the one thing that's going to make that happen is numbers. Like, we need to show that this is an event that everybody can do and everybody wants to do. So like I don't know what that's gonna take, honestly, but like at this tournament that I'm running in the spring, which everybody will be available to like go to it. So yeah, I'll let you know when all that comes out, but it will come out by the time this episode is out, so it'll already be on Tab Room. I don't fully know what I'm gonna call it yet. I'll make like an ad about it and like input it into the episode, so you'll be able to know what it's called. But I'm excited because I'm gonna run this thing, and if I have a bunch of other events that are going to be available options. It's going to be an asynchronous tournament, but I want to see how many people actually sign up to do radio hosting. If there's a big enough number, I feel like I don't know what that needs to be for the NSDA, but like imagine if I don't know 1,000 kids signed up. Like the NSDA or somebody has to say, "Oh, this is way more popular than we thought. This is something that we need to do." And the NSDA, they're the ones who should do it, honestly, because they're like the biggest organization. They hold so many cards that it's amazing, and I think that's great. But having so many people do it is a great incentive for some of the other organizations too, like TLC, NITALK, stuff like that. The ones that are, for lack of a better term, probably more about like finances. I don't want to like throw shade. So like it's more about like finances, kind of like like there's no incentive for them to run the event if there's only two people who are interested. So but if you can get 1,000 people who are interested, that might be super great. And I'd love to see a nationals for I don't know TLC where there is radio hosting and you have that many people signed up. That would be awesome.
Well, and you know what I like about that is that you're saying, let's build this from the ground up. And I've seen a lot of things lately where if you build something, that line, I believe it's from A Field of Dreams, the baseball movie, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah,
And
I'll do it.
I just love that because Dante, that I started a radio broadcasting camp at Carroll University
Yep.
when again, shout out to Carroll. Woo, woo, go Pios. Uh by the way, our football team's doing great this year so far. We're 2 and
Yes.
0. But anyway, uh, um I started a radio camp through a program called the Carroll Academy, which or Project Create, which doesn't exist anymore. I had kids who were interested in radio broadcasting, and many of them, well, one of them, um, my and your friend Caitlin, we'll say her name, Caitlin Pico. You
Love
guys
you,
should,
Caitlin.
yeah, yeah. She stuck with radio for many years, and as a matter of fact, it was a big factor for her majoring. She told me later that it was a big factor for her majoring in communications in college. So, like,
Wow.
she was with me. She did that. She did the radio show, Dante. You probably recall middle school,
Yeah, because
high school.
I was was that the one where I was assisting you, or was that the one where I was the assistant director for Carroll Academy? I can't remember. But
Um, yeah, yeah. Well, I think part of both, right? You were
oh, that might
assisting me, but then yeah, she even after the whatever happened with Carroll Academy or Project Create, whether it was a funding issue or something like that. Even after that went away, Caitlin still stuck with me, and she was one of my and that led me to have a radio show with high school students, at middle school and high school students at Carroll. And that was really, really popular. Um, I had 4 or 5 students every year who were interested in doing that. So yeah, I think radio is and even in Milwaukee we have a radio show called Hey Mom, I'm on KLH 96.5. WKLH is this popular classic rock radio station. It gives
Nice.
kids a chance to be on radio. And I'll tell you, I loved my days on college radio, on WCCX, Carol's radio station. Now they don't exist anymore, but I absolutely love my days
Yeah.
on Carol's radio station. And then I was on Greenville College's radio station. Radio, you're right, it's just so accessible. Virtually anybody can do it. Um, and yeah, so that's what I want to say about that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's super accessible, and I think that's so cool because like you don't have to have any of those limitations. And I know, for you specifically, being a blind individual, I know that in the past, one thing that has always been I feel like something that you've really wanted to do in speech and debate was judge. And
Yes.
I think obviously radio gives you the opportunity to be able to do that and do that without any type of accommodations being needed, which is amazing to me. Like
Hmm.
you can bring your laptop, boom, jump on tab room, boom, put all the names in, whatever you need to do, boom, make it work and judge. And it's like it's so cool because it makes it so easy for you to have that opportunity, and I love that. Like Greg and I are both members of ACB for the audience, and um this was something that we kind of discussed in the summer, and I was like super excited about this because I think that we need something like this because one, students will be able to do it without any type of accommodation, and judges, and I think that's cool. Plus coaches as well. Like I think there's nobody who doesn't have the opportunity to do this like without any type of accommodations. I also do want to make sure that I am like like saying that I'm aware because I know that there are like people with other typical disabilities who might not be able to do this category, I guess. When I think about it, like it just literally just popped in my head. So I just want to make sure I acknowledge that. I didn't think about, someone who might be like, I don't fully like, I don't know. I think like again, I don't know everything about all disabilities. So I
Hmm.
apologize if I'm even
Right.
spewing the wrong words, but I think like certain people who have like certain variations of like deafness might not be able to do it. I'm not sure. That's just a observation that I don't know. Somebody can definitely educate me on that, as well as I'm assuming I'm assuming if someone was maybe both deaf and blind or something, or mute or something of that nature, it might be much tougher for them to do that. Also, I do think that as I'm saying that, like someone who might be nonverbal who uses, maybe technology as their speaking device, like I've worked in, special education and things, and have had students who, had like different the like iPads and things of that nature and use them to speak. I think that there could be actually an opening for them to compete in this as well, because all you're really doing
Sure.
is cutting down the story and basically creating that 5 minute like news like kind of radio type of thing. So even somebody who might not feel that they have the vocal voice to be able to do it can use that with any type of assistance too, and I think that's really awesome. um
Well,
so
and
go
it
ahead.
still, let me just say this really quickly. It still works on some of the skills that I've coached with you, Dante, and it still uses a lot of the skills that we teach in forensics. The diction being one of them.
Yep.
But I was thinking of like cutting, like cutting the script. Like
Yeah,
how often do we, help our students do that? And they do their own cutting of the script, but we, guide them in that process. And this still radio can still teach that, and probably other things that I'm not thinking of right now. It teaches you how to,
yeah,
like how to have a, perform with a time limit,
yep,
how to. So there's a lot of things that people can learn through radio, and maybe even more things that people can learn that are different skill sets from, say, humorous interpretation or play acting,
yeah.
or those types of things.
No, that totally makes sense. I really, really, really appreciate that. So I love those insights, and I think that those can be super valuable when it comes to looking at how important speech and debate is. It offers so many things that like we don't truly think about. Like so many abilities that you learn and grasp and get better at are like so thanks to speech and debate, and I just love to see that and love to know that. Um, this is great because this like I love that I keep these episodes so real. So my Zoom if is letting me know that I have 10 minutes left to record. That is so
That's great.
that
That's
is great.
great.
So
By the way, I did not put my phone on do not disturb, so you may hear random, fantasy football updates, or things like that in the background.
oh,
So
no, I love that so much. I love that so much. Okay, so I just want to let my audience know. We were gonna do Google Meet like usual, but now there was so many like technical difficulties.
yes,
We were
Google
working on
doesn't like me for whatever reasons,
that.
so I don't know what I did to
Google's
Google to
anti-grade.
make it not like me. Yeah, yeah.
And it's
No
okay.
offense to Google if they're a sponsor. They won't be
This
anymore.
This
Okay,
episode is
anyway.
sponsored by Google.com. Okay. All right. But no, I appreciate that you were able to give all of those insights, and I think that those are super important. And I want to ask because I know that this is kind of a thing that I feel like a lot of people are kind of thinking about. I feel like in this world we have to think a lot more about how we can make activities more inclusive to people, and I think that that's amazing because we're truly making a world where we feel like everybody can and should compete. And I think my first question that I want to ask you is, as a student, how did you feel as a competitor? Like, with the categories that you did and the events, like what 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 accommodations did you need, if any? And then I guess for those accommodations, do you think that like I don't know, did the tournaments do a great job back in that time? I feel like time period sound makes it sound like we're all super old, but you get what I'm saying, like that time period and stuff. Like how did that feel? Like, and do you think that there are accommodations have gotten better or they need to get better and there's still things that they're missing that they didn't have necessarily for you in speech and debate that you would love to see for students who may just be like you and needing to and wanting to compete as well?
Truthfully, my coaches didn't treat me any differently, and that was really important. They didn't treat me any differently than a person who cited. Now, people may take offense to that and be like, "Well, what if you need to be treated differently because of accommodations?" But I just really felt like I was treated the same way as my cited peers. Um, High school it's a long time ago, Dante, and I've forgotten exactly what accommodations, but I'm sure, like, with my, for instance, when I did storytelling, we had to memorize 5 stories,
Oh
and
yeah.
then just tell one of them. I don't know if that's how the storytelling category still works, but uh, And I think I brailled all the stories and just kept looking at them and just tried to memorize them. My memory is one of my best senses, and my hearing is the other one. So those, both of those helped me as I was doing forensics. Um, but really, like I said, my coaches didn't treat me any differently. Um, as far as tournaments and meets, like first of all, I loved going to tournaments and meets. Can I
Yeah.
just geek out a little bit about forensics? I know we've got like 5 minutes left probably, but like I absolutely loved it because it gave me a chance to explore new schools, to meet new people, uh, to meet other, forensics. I'm gonna forensics nerds, like me, people who enjoyed speaking. And so I'm not sure that there's like, um, you know, any accommodations, but that was my experience throughout school. Like even being raised, like my parents didn't treat me any differently,
Yeah.
as a having a blind son. In school, I wasn't treated any differently. I did have accommodations. I had braille and things like that. And now they have so much more as far as braille displays and braille note takers that people can use and probably do use, uh, and things like that in schools. But yeah, um, um, take advantage of your technology. Use your technology to your benefit is one thing I would say. Um, if you have a visual disability, listen really well. Actually, if you have any, you know, disability, listen really well. Listen to how other performers do things. Uh, just just be attentive. And as far as coaches go, the best thing I think a coach can do is just believe in their athlete and ask them. People I think people are good advocates for themselves, you know so coaches, ask them ask your students what they need. They'll tell you. you know I
Sure.
think our students with disabilities have become good advocates for themselves. So
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that, like big time. I think that sometimes as a as a educator, we can easily get lost in trying to figure out like, all right, what's going to be best for this person? How can I make this the best and things of that nature? And I think that sometimes we just need to just shut up and listen. And the students, they're going to tell us what we need or what they need, sorry, and then we're going to be able to accommodate or give them what they need. And I think that that's super important. Instead of just trying to do it on your own, it's like just listen, because they're going to give you the tools, and that's great. They're going to say like, this is what I need done in order to make this feel great for me, and boom, you're able to supply it. And I think that's super important. um those are some of the things that we continuously see in speech and debate as it's getting better, and hearing from more coaches that are growing up in a world where we are teaching each other how to, I guess, coach and be better. And that I think that does trickle down to every trinkle. That's I said the word trinkle. Anyway,
I like that.
I,
Trinkle
I,
down.
I like that. Yeah,
Yes.
trinkle down. But it's
Just like those four pillows. Yes.
yes, the four pillows of truth. All right. So it's great that that trickles down for others, and they can kind of see that and continue to learn. And as a whole, we continue to give more future generations better tools that they need to be the best coaches that they possibly can. And I'm super excited that I am even a part of the conversation in order to try to make this happen. So, um,
And just real quick for
yeah,
coaches that might be listening, and obviously Dante's got my contact info. I'd love to be part of, if you have other questions, I'd love
absolutely.
to help answer those questions as best I can. Again, realizing that
Yeah,
each of your students is different.
uh,
Even each of their, you know, even if they're blind, there are different levels of blindness, each each student is, and they're their own person. So,
yeah.
but I'd love to help
I think that's
foster conversation.
sorry. No, I think that's super true, and I definitely will make sure for anybody who's listening, I will include Greg's contact information so that I can have those in the show notes for anybody who wants to listen. And then we'll kind of go from there. So um we are going to take a quick intermission because it says that I have less than a minute before Zoom closes out on me. But also, I did plan to have an intermission anyway, so this will happen right now. So expect maybe an ad about my upcoming tournament and stuff, and then we will get back on and continue to talk to you about how we are on a mission to make sure that we can create the most equitable, accessible, inclusive, and diverse activity ever. Let's go. Hey, so I just wanted to take one quick second to tell you about the tournament that we are hosting that we harped on a little bit in the podcast, but didn't get to fully explain. I'm super excited to welcome you to the All Inclusive Spring Invitational. This is going to be the one tournament that you have to go to. It's an asynchronous tournament. It is truly, truly what I feel is all inclusive. And every year I want to continue to make it even more inclusive than I already have it. Accessible, diverse, and equitable. I want this to feel like the tournament you have felt the most comfortable in your life. So I'm harping on those four pillow points: accessibility, inclusion, equity, and diversity. So there's some things that I have that are going to specifically focus on those ideals. Also, 5% of the proceeds is going to be donated to the American Council of the Blind, in just name for Greg, but also our opportunity to offer this event. One of the first groups that we thought of was blind students who want to do different events, but also specifically radio hosting or radio announcing, as they call it in the Wisconsin Forensic Circuit. So I wanted to harp on that and make sure that we gave back to that organization as well, as we hope to get more students who want to participate also. So there's a lot of different details. You'll be able to check out all of those details if you just go to Tab Room. The All Inclusive Spring Invitational is there with the invitation thing. So yeah, welcome, and I am super excited to invite you. I'm super excited. It's going to be great. This is going to be the most fun tournament ever, and the largest tournament. I am not joking about how much this is going to be the largest tournament ever, maybe except for like a nationals, but promise this is going to be the largest tournament ever. The amount of, I don't know, marketing that I'm going to try to do. I guess, I mean, I don't really have money. I'm extremely broke, but I will be marketing it in like other ways. So if I have to stand outside like one of those like people who have those signs and flips them and stuff, I will, and just be like, come to the All Inclusive Spring Invitational. That's gonna be great. Okay. Anyway, I really hope to see you all there. And if you want to support in any way, first of all, come to the tournament because this is going to be great. I'm also creating shirts for the tournament. And like I said, 5% of any proceeds, it is going to the American Council of the Blind. So I really hope that you're able to support and be able to help out with that. Additionally, if you just want to support the things that I do in the speech and debate community and that I'm continuing to grow, you can support me at buymeacoffee.com. My link is like in the podcast notes and stuff. So you can literally support by buying me a coffee for just $5, or you can support on a monthly basis and have exclusive opportunities for like episodes that I have. I have a exclusive video episode as well of one of my podcasts that was super super fun to film with Aaron Branch and Keswell Boateng. So check it out. And yeah, let's get back to the show because I don't want to hold you up too long. This is a pretty long episode, like an hour, I think, maybe, but super fun. Anyway, keep listening. Love you all, and that's it. Okay, bye. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed those ads. I also hope that you sign up for the tournament, whatever that name of that tournament is. Make sure you sign up for it. I think it's gonna be super amazing. Honestly, I seriously, based off of everything that I'm doing right now, this is going to be 100% the largest asynchronous tournament. I like not even a question. It's going to be really amazing. So I'm super excited. Like there's so many people I've already talked to that are like super interested, ready to sign up. Now that it's out, there's going to be people signing up. So like sign up now. It's going to be super great. I'm excited. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's get back to talking, and let's just go through a couple more things. So Greg, with the time that we have, I just want to gauge a couple more questions from you and just kind of figure out, a lot of the things that we are figuring out when it comes to speech and debate. So my actually my first question isn't even about speech and debate. I'm just excited to know that Greg, I think Greg might have been Wisconsin's first blind wrestler, and I am excited to hear about this.
That's not been verified, by the way, but
uh, how was wrestling? Because that's a super cool thing, and I know that a lot of people are potentially interested in hearing about that. So I just want to hear like quickly how was that experience? How did that feel?
I listened to a forensics podcast and heard about wrestling. Anyway, ah, so uh yeah, wrestling was thinking back about it, wrestling was one of those things that I did to like prove to people that even even being blind, I could like do a lot of the same things that sighted people could. And uh sad to say, I think it might have been a little bit motivated by that, and also my parents saying you should sign up for a sport, although I don't know if my parents ever said that. So if they ever listen to this podcast, uh I'm not sure if that's true or not, but yeah, wrestling was interesting. Drama was definitely more my thing, so I'm glad I switched to that
Yeah.
sophomore year, drama and forensics and things like that. But yeah, wrestling was an interesting experience. But there again, I think I learned some life lessons from wrestling. One is that well, first of all, I only won one match. It was the easiest match that I ever won. I just had to go out in the middle of the mat and shake the ref's hand because the other guy forfeit the last round. So I was pretty happy about that. The thing that I least loved about wrestling was our coach at Waukesha North High School. Give it up for Waukesha North. Made us do this thing called the Dirty Dozen, which was 12 push-ups, 12 sit-ups, 12 jumping jacks, followed by 11, all the way down to one. So
Oh,
that was a workout.
wow.
And and that's when I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. So like I said, I quickly switched to acting my sophomore year. But
You mean
I
your
yeah.
acting coach didn't assign you a dirty dozen? This is crazy.
Yeah. I have to do 12 I don't know what, 12 Shakespeare lines or something. I don't 12 lines of Shakespeare. But anyway, yeah, it was a point in my life. I also was a Special Olympian for a while. I did bowling and
Oh,
track and
wow.
swimming, and even tried basketball, and
Greg is what they call a, is it a Renaissance man?
I
Wow,
don't know.
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah. But
That's
so
cool. I love to hear that. So okay, so my next question, I have been diving into this, and I'm really curious. I will, for listeners, I will know if you listen to this episode because you will hopefully comment. Like, I don't know. I think you can you comment on podcast? I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, you'll comment somewhere or message me or something about this because I have been very curious about this. So I know one thing Greg was, wanted to do in the past was judge. And I've always kind of thought about it and figuring out how he can judge and also like why can't he judge. So okay, all right. Hear me out, people. Um, for all events, you are judged in the same way, right? Like no matter the event, if it's like there's a set of criteria that you are judged within, and each room has a different judge. Whether it's speech or debate, you have a different judge who basically has a different paradigm or a different way that they judge. So, for example, you might be in DI and you are unfortunately in front of a judge who really, really, really values blocking, and your piece specifically doesn't have that much blocking. So you're going to have to understand that in the eyes of that judge you might not do as well as you would for a different judge, and that totally makes sense. And this is especially true for debaters because paradigms are pretty strong. Somebody says like, hey, I don't like spreading, you can easily lose the debate because you're doing that. So and that it kind of brings me to a question about what is fair for judging. And this is just my personal opinion, so I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on this. But I think that Greg should be able to judge any event. That's my thought. I don't think that there's an event he can't judge. And the reason why is because let's just say let's say he was judging HI. And in the confines of his like disability, he wouldn't be able to see people doing like blocking or certain things like gestures, but he would be able to like hear like funny things or like different like voice inflections and like diction and all of the other things that are pertinent to that category that involve like voice or things that you would have to listen to in order to judge that speech. And I think that if he was the judge in that round, every judge would be, or every student would be judged fairly because in that specific room, all the students are judged the same way. There's no difference in how they're judged. So there is a there is a like equal, I don't know what to really call that, kind of just like an equal
playing field. Yeah.
yeah, equal equilibrium. Yeah, equal playing field of how they are judged. And I think that's great. So I think it's totally possible for him to have to judge. And in this subset, like it's not like it allows me to say like, okay, maybe we don't even need radio, but I still think we need radio because I think it's an amazing category and everybody should do it. But it also allows people to judge for all different events. So I think that he can judge fairly. This is my opinion, and I love to hear what other people think. I don't know. You might disagree with me. So, Greg, I don't know. How do you feel? Do you think like, it's not fair for the kids? I don't know. What do you think about this?
No, you know me, I've been wanting to judge for forever. And I mean, you could argue how much percent of, is that even like, is that grammatically correct? I don't know.
No,
There
it's
are some English people who are, but you could argue about the percentages of even how much of humorous interpretation is visual versus, I would say if it's humorous interpretation, one, forensics is and speech and debate are speech, right?
yeah.
Isn't that the first word, speaking?
Yes.
We're speaking, and so it should be um I would say the percentage would be very high, even in a category like humorous interpretation or even dramatic interpretations, a dramatic interpretation that I don't want to guess percentage ratios, but let's say like, you know, usually it's 70-30, where 70% of it, or even 80-20, well,
Yeah,
I'd be missing out on that 20%. But you're right, the whole room would be judged that way. The whole room would be judged fairly. Now
yep,
we all know that students unfortunately, we all know that a lot of students, I've heard talk and say, "Oh, I had a bad judge. That judge was unfair," which is totally their right to say. And
hmm,
at the end of the day, it is about the students. So, um, I guess I have mixed feelings and mixed opinions. Yeah, I'd really be curious as to what other forensics and speech and debate uh, professionals or coaches would say, like even students,
yeah,
student, do you think it's fair to be for someone who is born totally blind to judge? Yes, I am lacking that visual element, but even sometimes I can hear, like with the blocking, I can hear when people move, from one side of the space to the other side.
true.
So you may have to look at each. I mean, you might have to look at each category and say, okay, maybe this makes more sense here than others. But uh, yeah, so that's my half answer to the question. I don't know if I've really given an opinion, but yeah, I would
Yeah.
like to judge. I think it would be fun to still be involved in
I,
something like speech and debate.
I
I
I totally agree. I also think only I mean when you think about it, only probably 35% of events technically even are so heavy on like movement that somebody would debate that you might not be able to judge it. Like technically, because I think like I don't think anybody could say any of those things if you went in and judged the Congress round. Like you could
right.
like there's like I guess technically you probably can't like your paradigm you might actually be still looking at like facial expressions and you're going to look at different things with posture and stuff like that but as a whole for some of these debate events it really is just like about the speech and the argumentation so yeah as long as you can hear the debate and truly give a objective opinion about it then I think that's all you need and that's great so there are events that I think, yeah, you definitely can judge like 100% without. I feel like nobody should have any type of debate in another way about it. But I could see somebody potentially debating, maybe judging a duo round or something like that. But I'm still going to lean on the side that I think that they're all being judged fairly because they're all being judged with the same parameters. So as long as that's true, then that should be fine and not necessarily a hindrance to any of the students that are competing in that round or at that tournament. Uh,
Well, and just one more quick thing to
yeah.
think about. Sorry, I'm not sure how much time we have,
Oh
but
no, of course. We probably got a good amount of time, so go ahead.
just one more quick thing to think about. I know, Dante, you and I have had the conversation about DEI in all areas, and I
Yeah.
hope this DEI conversation is taking place in the community. And you and I have had conversations. We've talked about dress before.
Yep.
What if a certain person can't dress the part, so to speak? Are you going to penalize them because they don't have the resources to dress the part? Or what if, maybe someone is from another culture and their facial expressions are different. Are we going to penalize them because they have, different facial expressions? So I'm not saying make exceptions for everybody. What I am saying is we need to have we need to decide what's fair, what's equitable,
Yes.
um and this needs to be a conversation that we have. I mean, I'm not even involved in the speech and debate community, so I don't know what forums are even anymore. I would like to be. I'd like to be a coach. So, hey, um, head coaches out there.
Formal
Um,
application.
yeah, yeah. Um, but this, I hope this is a conversation that's happening in the speech
Yeah.
and debate, you know, community. And
100.
if it's not, Dante's going to start it
Oh,
because
absolutely. I'm starting every conversation. Y'all have no idea. Like all the things that people are afraid to talk about, I will be talking about these things as we go forward. No questions asked. Um, so yeah, no, I love that conversation. It also I love what you said because it got me to think just slightly about cultures too that I didn't even consider. Like, because formal clothing isn't the same everywhere. Like like
exactly.
formal clothing in the United States is like your typical suit and tie. If we were in maybe a certain part of India or like I don't know some part of Asia or Africa or where I don't know because I don't know all these different garments, but like formal wear and attire is significantly different. And I never thought about that. Like I might be wrong because I don't just like go on the NSDA website and just look at all the pictures of the kids or something. But like I don't think I've noticed if there's ever been a student who hasn't had like traditional American like professional attire. Like I haven't seen like a student in like maybe some type of like different cultures like professional attire win nationals and like have a trophy in their hand or something. And I think that's actually that's kind of cool to think about. Like definitely knowing that there's so many different cultures that are exhibited in that, and I'd love to see more of that too. So that would just be really great. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yet I'm sure there are judges that judge based on that. Like
Yeah.
we're about keeping it real, right?
Yep. Yep.
I'm sure I got a judge or two that like if I remember correctly, I got a judge or two that said could have been, dressed better, back in the day. And
And that
it's like, or
that's fair.
something to the effect. And yeah, that's, I don't know. We
And
need to
yeah,
be better. We
and I want
just
I
do.
want I want to preface. I want to make sure that we realize for the listeners, it's not even fully about trying like obviously one we shouldn't be knocking students down for not dressing professional or as professional, but I think we've already jumped over that bridge, and I think we're doing better at that, and that's a positive. But I think one thing that we haven't really thought about is the opposite. Like I think inherently sometimes, even if we don't think about it, we might be subconsciously giving students better scores because they're dressed better, you know like we might not
Hmm.
inherently be harming the students who aren't dressed better and giving them low scores, but we might be doing the opposite and giving better scores to the better dressed students. The like, oh, I go to Harker or Brookfield East, like so like my suit is like extremely pressed and perfect. So I'm going to say like, and no shade to either of those schools. Harker is one of the first schools that I just think of because I don't think I've ever seen a student without a suit. And same thing for Brookfield East. I used to coach there. I love Brookfield East. They're like my absolute love. But like I remember, suits for us was a big thing too. So, in those situations, like how likely is it that a judge is like, ooh, that is a pristine suit. I love it. You are fresh. And I know you mean business. And even though your speech might not be as perfect as it should be, I still would love to give you that higher score because your clothes basically exhibit somebody with profession and passion and power. And that's crazy.
Mm,
That's absolutely crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's like there's so many things I could dive into. Like I should have episodes for days, but we can dive into the whole gender factor of it too, because it's much less likely that the professional attire for a woman is a suit, and suits do hold, I feel, a more power symbol and status, and that can be why, I don't know the numbers for like speech and stuff, but I definitely have heard a lot of mentions on the numbers for debate where, women are disproportionately not winning certain rounds at certain tournaments as much as the I should say like more female presenting students versus the like more male presenting students. So like those aren't, there either. And we have to kind of work on that and see how we can do better at making those things happen and create a world where everybody is truly judged fairly. And I totally understand that this might not even happen in my lifetime, but I want to try to make that happen and try to get those things started.
You
Um,
know, one
Go ahead.
thing, and I'm sorry,
No,
Dante and
please.
I agree with Dante. One thing you said at the beginning, we want to, you want to give students every opportunity, you know, to, I don't know, you said to live up to their full potential,
Yep,
and that's what I'm about too. That's what I'm about. So,
absolutely. I super appreciate that. Um, I think I feel like wow, we got to cover a lot of the things that I really wanted to talk about, like judging other categories, being your experience as a blind coach. We got to talk about, just in general, like how like students can compete and have categories that are equitable and be able to do those things. I guess my next question is what advice would you have for a student that might either be just like you or another student that also has like disabilities in any way and wants to do speech and debate? Is there any advice that you think you would have for them that would make their journey into this amazing activity easier?
well, first of all, I'd say just do it. Just go for it. My thing with, the acting and the forensics that I've done and even things I've done outside of high school, has been just um because chances are and I hate to say it this way, when you have a disability, you're not going to be people aren't going to, reach out to you, and pursue, hey, we really want you on, I really want you on my team, you
Yeah,
know, I really want you in my group. Let's just, again, that's just kind of being real,
being
right?
real. Yep.
So I, in high school, when I knew there was a forensics team, I went up to the coach and I said, can I be part of the team? And she said, sure. And I was like, wow, that's, there's never harm in asking. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when you ask, so find out, who the speech and debate coach is at your school, and just go for it. Just go for it. Just um run with it, and just then be the best, you know be the best you can be.
Yeah.
Go to the practices. We had 2 or 3 practices a week in high school. I think I was at every one of them, you know,
Yeah.
every one of the practices per week. And this is me being involved in other clubs too. I was in student council, I was in drama, I was in, but I made it a point to really practice. So and get, accept that constructive criticism from your coach. I don't know. That's kind of how I did it. I'm just trying to think of anything else. This is just me thinking on the spot either. Um, and for coaches, I guess just, you know, give give that student, with any ability, give them a chance, you know,
Yeah,
give them a chance to show what they've got, you know, and eh, even if they are not good at first, that's part of your job as a coach to help them. And I will fully say that there are some things that you can't teach, right? You know, you may not be able to teach delivery,
yeah,
but you know, or you may not be able to teach other things. But I think it's your job as a coach to, you know, work with the students as much as you can and to try to make them, again, the best. I keep saying it and it sounds, the best, you know, performers that they can be. Now,
yeah,
is everybody going to work out in forensics? Is everybody going to, you know, work out in speech and debate? Um, Hopefully, you know, we can work with most people,
yeah.
you know, but some people, you know, may not have the drive or whatever. But yeah, um, I remember my first coach and she was amazing. So
That's awesome. No, that's a really great point, and I'm glad you were able to express those views. I think that's really perfect, and I think that's some great advice for students who do want to do speech and debate. I know that there's a lot of things holding students back. Students get nervous, anxious, everything. I love that. Just a shout out, I love that the NSDA has their like springboard series. I love the name. Like, I don't know if that was. I wonder who like thought of that name, like, and how intentional that was. But for those who don't know, they have their little spring, like little. It sounds weird to say little, so I don't mean it to be insulting. But they have like a springboard series, I think, and it's like weekly or bi-weekly, where there's like it's basically a one round tournament. Basically, you get to like do your piece or performance in front of a judge, and they get to give you feedback, and you got to perform as if you were at a tournament, but it's like for a quick hour during the middle of the week. So it's an opportunity for you to still do speech and debate, but you don't have to like feel so obligated to either go to a super big long tournament or anything. And then also you don't have to feel maybe worried about the competitive aspect. I know some people get really nervous about competition. You don't have to be like, this is my first tournament, I'm going to get last place or anything. It's just a chance for you to perform, and we'll just see what happens. We'll get those feedbacks from the judges. You can talk about those things with your coach at a later date. They can help you continue to improve and do better. And I think that's amazing. And I love that that's even a thing that's being offered, because I just never expected it, and I think whenever it started, I knew I was super excited about that, because I was like, this is awesome. This is like the NSDA saying, hey, we are truly about this activity, and we're doing something like year round that truly exemplifies it. I feel like, not like, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I just know, with a lot of the national organizations, they typically just have, sometimes like their main tournament, they might have some district qualifiers, and the other people put that on and stuff like that. But I love that the NSDA is actively now saying like, all right, this is our chance to like really, really, really be in the community of everybody's speech and debate experience. And I think that's super cool that's an opportunity. Um, I want to like
can I give just one more
yeah, please
suggestion?
go ahead.
There are so many, Dante. Dante knows that I do this. You know, if you're a student, or even if you're a coach, or if you're anybody who's interested in forensics, there are so many performances on YouTube.
Yep.
Some just, you know, just if you type in forensics or, you know, speech and debate on YouTube, you'll get so many different things. And at least like that's a good way for just people in general to know what what speakers and debaters do, what kinds of things that they can be involved in. And let me tell you, I go on YouTube sometimes, and or I listen to the NSDA national tournaments, and I just get inspired. I get inspired by all of you young people who are listening right now. Not saying that I'm old, but I'm I'm hey, this year I'm going to be 45. It's going to be my halfway to 90 party,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm debating about embracing that. No, I'm just kidding. But I am you know the passion of young people. One of the questions I ask people, particularly young people, what are you passionate about? Then go for it, go
Yeah.
for your passion. But watch some of these speeches on YouTube, be inspired, and maybe it'll give you a sense of what performance is like.
Yeah, definite. I think that's a super good point. I also want to preface because I know there's somebody thinking about it. Don't just copy.
Right, right, right.
We always make that as a joke. I think I had a meme up recently that said that. But yeah, definitely. I know some people see this great performance at NSDAs or NCFLs or TLC or whatever, and they're like, "That was amazing. I'm gonna do it exactly how they did it." Like, no, 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 no. This is your chance. This is your chance to
Right. Be your own
yeah,
person. Yes.
your own
Yes.
performance, interpret it your own way, and do something different. Um, I love it. I got the notification. We got like 8 minutes left in the podcast. This is so great. I absolutely love this because it is proving that I am trying to. I'm just trying to be the speech and debate man for real. I want to just promote so much and do so much. And even I'm still gonna do this no matter what. And I appreciate all of you for just being willing to listen. Whoever's listening is like 10 people, but whatever. The fact that you're listening means so much in the world to me. And this is a great chance to just say, like, with the last few minutes that we do have, like, for those who don't know, I do have it's called, what's that thing called? Buy Me a Coffee thing. So if you want to support, it would be awesome to support the episodes that I'm doing. I'm releasing them on a monthly basis now because I feel like I want to put a little bit more quality into like the episodes. I think that the episodes I released had great quality. That's not to say that. I just think that I want to be more thoughtful about like the ideas that I'm doing each episode about and how I'm releasing them and like maybe I guess I don't know if marketing is the best word because it's not like I don't got money for that, but like I'm just like promoting the episode and stuff and trying to like I don't know partner with people and say like hey let people know about my episodes and stuff because I want more people but for those who are willing to help and support in any way like I think you can like buy me a coffee. I think it's like a $5 thing on the website or you can be like a member and get like exclusive stuff that I'm planning to post. I have like I think a thing or two already on there if you want to check that out like a video version of one of my more recent podcasts that you can see so you can like see how it look kind of live and stuff and all of that and just have fun with it. People know that I literally record all these episodes just kind of like just straight up, like pretty much no editing for the most part or anything, just going. And I think that's the super fun part about this because it feels so real. And that's kind of the atmosphere and the way that I want to make sure these podcasts are because I think that's super important to have real conversations and not some edited, like just thing that just feels almost like fake plastic about it. So yeah, if you want to support, please feel free. And even if you aren't able to support financially, it's not a super big deal. All I ask is that if you really love this, if you listen to this and you're like, wow, this is a good episode, I need to like share this. Like definitely let somebody know what I'm trying to do because I want to keep growing these things. And I'm super excited for this tournament that I'm hosting, asynchronous tournament. So it literally is the most inclusive way that you can, I feel like, do a tournament and giving every single person the opportunity to try, as well as having radio, which I will have, so I can make sure that everyone who wants to do speech and debate can do it. Unfortunately, some of the debate events are tougher, but they're also I feel like in a lot of ways debate is a lot more accessible sometimes because potentially can lack more like physical stuff about it, and that's awesome. But it's also harder to do like in an asynchronous format. So I just want to make sure I have something for all the speech events and make sure that every student who is interested gets the opportunity to do forensics and stuff. So I'll have this tournament. It's going to be March 2nd through the 5th. I do know that. I still don't know the name, but I probably said it in the advertisement, like in the middle of the episode. But it's gonna be March 2nd through the 5th. That's a Thursday through a Saturday or Sunday. Thursday through a Sunday. So you submit your stuff just like any you would at any other tournament, and then we judge it kind of on that rolling basis. And yeah, I think it'll be a super fun time. So I'm excited for this tournament. I think it's going to be super amazing, and I am so grateful that anybody who even wants to sign up is signing up. It makes me super happy, and I appreciate all of you. So I want to thank Greg. Thank you so much, Greg, for coming on this episode. It has been amazing to talk about you and learn so many different things along with the listeners about you, about your impact in speech and debate, and just your thoughts and opinions surrounding a lot of these different topics and things in speech and debate. And for those who are listening, Greg, who are like, oh my gosh, I love Greg so much, and they want to talk to you, they want to know more about you, they want to learn or ask you any questions, how can they reach you?
Well, I do have a TikTok. It's at Blind Greg 3. That's
Oh,
GREGG 3. And you can come up, look up those videos there. My Instagram is also Blind Greg. So BLIND GREGG, no caps, no spaces, or any funky things like that. So
no.
those are probably, without giving my phone number or social security number or anything like that, those are probably the best ways to reach me.
Awesome. So we know how to reach them. GREGG. I noticed there's three G's. We should like call you Triple G or something. That'd be a cool.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
a really cool nickname.
By the way, fun fact, you may be able to buy Dante a coffee, but never buy me flaming hot Cheetos. I will not eat them. Just a fun fact.
You will not. So if you are thinking about creating a competitor website to buy me a coffee called Buy Me a Hot Cheeto, I don't think it'll work. I just don't think it'll work. I'm sorry.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so once again, I want to thank Gary for coming on, and I want to thank all of you for listening. I really hope that this is my biggest episode so far, because I'm really going to be promoting this episode to so many people. So we'll see what happens, and I'm super excited for it. Thank you again for listening. And if you want to stay in the conversation or ask me anything, you already know how to reach me. I'm at the forensics guy on everything, literally everything. From my MySpace to my to the what was those things called? The yellow pages, the phone books. You can look me up at the forensics guy. You'll see me in there, and I am just doing my thing. So if you want to help me continue to do my thing,
Was that an old person reference? The
that
phone
was
book?
so the two coaches probably listening that are like over, I don't know, 30 are like, oh, the yellow pages. Yeah, stay in the conversation with me. And as usual, make sure you give this episode a big thumbs up, rate it 5 stars in the Apple podcast thing, or I don't know if you could do stars or anything on the other ones, maybe Spotify and stuff. But yeah, you can find this episode anywhere. And as usual, I never ever know how to end these episodes. So I'm just going to do my usual, and I'm going to say peace out.
Out.